In the name of Allah, most gracious and merciful, we do thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again for making it possible for us. Within our midst, our teacher, Abu Musa Raha Batts, حفظه ta'ala, to benefit us from the well-known treatise of Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahaab At-Tamimi, رحمه ta'ala, the commentary of Al-Walid Allama Shaykh Ubaid ibn AbdiLlah Al Jabirī, رحمه ta'ala. فيتفضل أستاذنا الفاضل، حياك الله، بارك الله فيكم، وفقكم الله وسددكم.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. So as the people have heard, we are in this lesson. We do this monthly lesson in the book Kitaab At-Tawheed, Shaykh Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahaab alayhi rahmatullah. And we are reading from and benefiting from the commentary of Shaykh Al-Allama Al-Walid Ubaid ibn AbdiLlah Al Jabirī alayhi rahmatullah wa rahmatan wasi'ah. And in the last sitting, due to the fact that we did not have with us the commentary that we normally read from, I read from the commentary of an individual named Shaykh Abdulaziz Al-Rajihi. And concerning Shaykh Abdulaziz Al-Rajihi, there are some observations that some of the mashayikh have regarding him. And these types of issues are to be referred back to our mashayikh. But due to those observations concerning some mukhalafat that he has, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we're going to redo that lesson, as it is our way to only benefit from the wadihin, those individuals who are crystal clear in the manhaj and crystal clear in their aqaid. So therefore, we are returning back to the lesson, or returning back to the commentary that we are normally reading from this lesson, that of Shaykh Ubaid Al Jabirī, and we'll redo, inshallah ta'ala, what we did in the last sitting. And so in the last sitting, we began with Bab Man Haqqaqa At-Tawhīd Dakhala Al-Jannata Bighayri Hisab. Chapter, whoever actualizes At-Tawhīd will enter into paradise without any hisab, without any reckoning. وقول الله تعالى, and the statement of Allah the Exalted, إن إبراهيم كان أمة قانتا لله حنيفا ولم يكن من المشركين. Indeed, Ibrahim, he was an ummah. Indeed, Ibrahim, he was an ummah. قانتا لله, he was qanit, he was devoutly obedient to Allah Ta'ala. حنيفا, and he was a true monotheist. ولم يكن من المشركين, he was not amongst the polytheists. وقال, and likewise the statement of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِرَبِّهِمْ لَا يُشْرِكُونَ, and those who do not associate partners with their Lord. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, due to the fact that we have another lesson directly after this one, we are going to suffice with the commentary of Shaykh Ubaid upon the first verse, that of his description of Ibrahim with these four descriptions. At any rate, Shaykh Ubaid mentions إن هذه الترجمة تناسب أو تناسب ما سبقها مناسبة قوية, that this ترجمة, this chapter heading, that which we have here, it has a strong connection to, and it is extremely appropriate to be mentioned after that which came before it. As you find, as the scholars have mentioned, that the ordering of the abwab, the ordering of the chapters in Kitaab At-Tawheed is not a random ordering. Rather, you'll find that each chapter that comes after the chapter that it comes after is appropriate to be mentioned directly after that chapter. And so this is a prime example of that. He says, وَذَلِكُمْ أَنَّ الْمُصَنَّفْ رحمة الله عليه أبان في البابين السابقين في الأول منهما عبادة الله الخالص. He says, and this is because the author, may Allah mercy upon him, he clarified within the two preceding chapters. In the first of them, he clarified the affair of the ibadatullah al-khalisa, yani pure, unadulterated worship of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. وَإِنْ شِئْتَ فَقُولْ, and if you will, you can say, كيف تكون عبادة الله خالصة? How can one's worship be pure for the sake of Allah Ta'ala? This is that which was mentioned in the first bab. أو كيف تكون العبادة الخالصة لله. وهذا يظهر من سياق ما تضمنته الترجمة من الأدلة على وجوب إفراد الله بالعبادة. And this is clear. It is made clear and evident from the citing of what came inside of that chapter from evidences and proofs for the obligation of singling out Allah Ta'ala with worship. Now, as you mentioned, you'll find that these chapters, they are appropriate to be mentioned in their order. They have in an order that is appropriate. And you look at the evidences that are cited by the author under these chapter headings, and it makes it clear to you. He mentions كما أبانت ترجم الباب الثاني. Similarly, you find in the second chapter, the chapter which came after that one, من هذا الكتاب ثمرات التوحيد من خلال ما ساقه من الأدلة. The fruits of evidence, or the fruits rather of At-Tawhīd, the fruits and the benefits of At-Tawhīd by way of that which the author cited of evidences, في باب فضل التوحيد, in the chapter فضل التوحيد, meaning the virtue of At-Tawhīd, and that which it expiates of sins. And this being amongst its virtues, this being amongst the virtues of At-Tawhīd is the fact that it expiates and it removes from us, by the permission of Allah Ta'ala, our sins and iniquities, if the individual is upon At-Tawhīd as he should be. Now, he says, والتي يظهر منهما أو منها فوائد التوحيد وثمراته على أهله في الدنيا والآخرة. And it clarifies that which is from the fruits and the benefits of At-Tawhīd for the one who is upon it in this life as well as the hereafter. في هذه الترجمة ينبه المصنف رحمه الله إلى أن أعلى الناس كمالا هو من حقق التوحيد. He says, and in this chapter, the author, he clarifies and explains the fact that the highest of the levels of the people in terms of their completion, and is the individual who actualizes At-Tawhīd. Meaning that the people in relation to this Tawhīd are of variant levels. Some of them actualize it as it should be actualized. And some of them, they may have Tawhīd to some extent, but their Tawhīd, it may be deficient in some ways. Now, ولهذا قال, due to this he says, باب من حقق التوحيد دخل جنة بغير حساب. ويضاف كذلك, and due to this he says, chapter, whoever actualizes At-Tawhīd will enter into the Jannah without any reckoning. And likewise, what can be added to and affixed to that, ولا عذاب, is the statement ولا عذاب, and without any punishment. They will enter into the paradise without any reckoning, nor without any punishment. And this is because it is not conceivable that hisab can be negated and the punishment is going to remain. That Allah Ta'ala, He will not reckon a person but still punish him when he actualizes the affair of Tawhīd. And so this is something that can be added to that as well. Here he brings a question or query. And the question is, what is the meaning of actualization of At-Tawhīd? What is the meaning of one actualizing and completing the affair of Tawhīd? The jawab. تحقيق التوحيد هو تصفيته من شائبة الشرك والبدعة والخرافة. It is that the person purifies and cleanses his tawhid from the filth of shirk and innovation and khurafa and superstitious beliefs and the likes of this. Anything that contradicts tawhid, anything that is the opposite of this affair, he purifies his tawhid from all of that, from anything that would sully it, anything that would defile it in any way. وكذلك البعد عن المعاصي. Similarly, the one distance himself from sins. The one distance himself from sins. فما سلمه الله من الشرك وصغيره وكبيره وسلم من البدع ومن الله عليه باجتناب المعاصي فأولئك من الكمل في الموحدين. He said, so whoever Allah Ta'ala keeps him safe and secure from shirk, minor shirk as well as major shirk, that which is small from it, that which is big from it. Similarly, Allah Ta'ala keeps him free and safe and secure from innovations. And Allah favors him and blesses him to avoid sins. Then these people are those who are the most complete of the people of Tawheed. So you see, by way of this, the people are at varying levels as it relates to the actualization of the affair of Tawheed. Some of them are of this level, and they are complete in their Tawheed. They have nothing in it that sullies it or defiles it. In addition to that, they are clear of innovations. In addition to that, Allah blesses them such that they don't commit sins. And these are the people who have actualized At-Tawhīd. And some of the people, they may have some of these characteristics, but perhaps they commit sins. Perhaps they do some things that will be a type of goodness. Now, he says that هم الذين حققوا التوحيد. They are those who have actualized the Tawheed. وهذا تنبيه آخر إلى أن المعاصي وهي إذا أطلقت أريد بها الكبائر. He says, and here there is something else which must be given attention. It is that when the term ma'asi is used and generalized, then what is intended by it is kaba'ir, major sins. Is major sins. Now, tunafi al-kamal al-wajib fi at-tawheed. And these things, they negate that obligatory completion of one's tawheed, the completion that we are required to have of our tawheed. One commits these kaba'ir, then this is something which it negates that completion that we are required and supposed to have as it relates to our tawheed. And how do we know if a sin is a major sin? The ulama have defined the kaba'ir various ways. And some of them, they have stated that any sin that has a cursed mention in connection with it, any sin that has the hellfire mentioned in connection with it, any sin that has in connection with it the nullification of one's actions, any sin that has a prescribed punishment in the dunya, and all of these are from the major sins. All of these are from the major sins. And the sins that are besides them, they are from the sagair. At any rate, now, when one commits these major sins, and they are amongst those things that negate the completion that is wajib, that he's required to have of his or her tawheed. وَتُنَافِي كَذَلِكَ الْكَمَالِ الْوَاجِبِ فِي الْإِيمَانِ. Similarly, it negates that completion that we are required to have in our iman. So thus, the Muslim who does so, he is mu'min as it relates to his iman, but he is fasiq as it relates to his sin that he has committed. فإذا تقرر هذا فما أودعه المصنف تحت هذه الترجمة من الأدلة على وجوب تحقيق التوحيد والثناء على أهله. هذه الأدلة تتألف من آيتين من كتاب الله وحديثين صحيحين الرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So once we affirm this, then that which the author has brought together under this chapter heading from evidences for the obligation of actualization of At-Tawheed and praise and commendation for its people. And these evidences, they are comprised of 2 verses from the Book of Allah and 2 authentic narrations from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And so the first verse is what we're going to take in the sitting with Allah Ta'ala. فالآية الأولى ظاهرة الدلالة على أن إبراهيم عليه الصلاة والسلام قد أثنى عليه ربه وأعلى ذكره وشرف مقامه في عباد الله. So in the first verse, it is clear and apparent in the fact that it indicates that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was praised and commended by his Lord, and Allah Ta'ala elevated his mention, and he deemed his status to be something which was noble amongst the slaves of Allah Ta'ala. وذلكم أن هذه الآية هي آية النحل تضمنت 4 أوصاف وصف الله بها خليله وعبده ورسوله إبراهيم. It is that this verse, it is the verse of Surah An-Nahl. Within it, it contains 4 qualities or characteristics with which Allah Ta'ala has described his Khalil, and his slave and his messenger Ibrahim صلى الله عليه وسلم. وهذه الأوصاف هي الغاية التي ليست فوقها غاية في تكميل التوحيد وتحقيقه. And this غاية, يعني this, or these descriptions rather, they are the غاية, they are the epitome, they are the highest level with which, concerning which there is no level above it, and the actualization of one's tawheed and its completion. And this is why this description that Allah Ta'ala has given to his Prophet Ibrahim, there was only one other human being that bore the exact same description, especially being the Khalil of Allah Ta'ala. Ibn Rajab, he mentions that as it relates to relationships between the Creator and the creation, then the highest level of that is Khulla, being a Khalil of Allah Ta'ala. And this is reserved for these two noble messengers of Allah Ta'ala, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And so he mentions al-wasfu al-awwal, the first description في قوله إن إبراهيم كان أمة, that Ibrahim, he was an ummah. Ibrahim, he was an ummah. And the meaning of ummah here is imam. He was a leader. He was an ummah. When he was a leader, yuqtada bih, whose example is to be followed. Whose example is to be followed. Al-wasfu al-thani, the second description that has been mentioned here is that he was qanitan. He was qanitan. وَالْقُنُوض فِي مَعَانِيهِ مُدَاوَمَةُ الطَّاعَاتِ. And amongst the meanings of al-qunut, as it comes here, is mudawamatu at-ta'at. He was perpetual in his obedience to Allah Ta'ala. That which was obligatory and that which is supererogatory. You found Ibrahim always to be perpetually upon the state of obedience. وَكَذَلِكَ اجْتِنَابُ الْمُحَرَّمَاتِ وَالْمَكْرُهَاتِ. Similarly, what is connected to that is the avoidance of those things that are muharram, even staying away from those things that are disliked. Some of the people, they perhaps do some things which they take lightly because they say that the ruling is that it is only makruh. The ruling is that it is only makruh. And but this is something which negates the completion of one's obedience to Allah Ta'ala. So we find that the one who was truly obedient to Allah is the one who not only avoids those things that are muharram, but they similarly stay away from those things that are makruh, that are disliked and detestable in their religion. Why would one want to do something on the basis that it is detestable and hated? Now, the third description that has come in relation to the Prophet of Allah Ibrahim as Khalil. Now, is the statement of Allah Ta'ala that he was Hanifan. He was a Hanif. Well, a Hanif al-Lugha min al-Hanaf. The term Hanif in the Arabic language is extracted and derived from al-Hanaf. وَأَصْلُهُ الْمَيْلُ فِي الْقَدَمِ. And the asl of it is a type of leaning in one's foot. A type of leaning or curve in one's foot. وَلِهَذَا يُقَالُ رَجُلٌ أَحْنَفٌ. Due to this, it is said concerning a man that he's ahnaf, and that he's slew-footed, if you will. Now, وَامْرَأَةٌ حَنْفَاء, and a woman, she may be hanfa, that she, her feet, they lean outwards. أي مائلات أقدامهم. والحنيف هنا, and this is the origin of the term, but hanif here, it is, and likewise the rest of the verses of the Tanzil al-Kareem, of the revelation of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, the Quran, it comes bearing the meaning of al-ma'il qasdan bil-kulliyah min ash-shirk ila at-tawhid, the one who completely and intentionally leans away from polytheism towards the tawhid. And the one who turns away intentionally, in totality, with all of his being, away from a shirk to a tawheed. So you see this noble description that Allah Ta'ala has given to his Prophet Ibrahim, who was a Hanif, a true monotheist, who turned away with all of his being away from a shirk towards the tawheed of Allah Ta'ala. Al-Wasfu al-Rabi', the fourth description And it is a tawqeed, a type of emphasis to the description that came before it. وَلَمْ نَكُوا مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And he was not amongst the polytheists. He was not amongst the polytheists. هذه الأوصاف وما ماثلها مما يقصه الله علينا في كتابه من أوصاف خواصه بل خواص أوليائه هي تذكر أولا تشويقا لأهلها وثناء جميلا عليهم. And so these descriptions and whatever is resemblant to them, these descriptions and whatever is resemblant to them from that which Allah Ta'ala has narrated to us inside of his book, from the descriptions that he has mentioned in relation to his khawas, those special and elite amongst his servants, rather the special and elite amongst his awliya. Amongst the awliya of Allah Ta'ala, they are mentioned for a number of reasons. Firstly, they are mentioned tashwiqan li ahliha, in order to make us love its people. In order to make us love its people. And likewise, as a lofty and beautiful type of commendation for them. ثانيا للتنبيه إلى وجوب الاقتداء بأولئكم الموصوفين. Secondly, it is mentioned to draw our attention to the obligation of following in the footsteps of and taking the example of the ones that have been described. ويوضح هذا في إبراهيم خاصة قوله تعالى. And what makes this clear specifically in relation to Ibrahim is the statement of Allah the Exalted. قد كان لكم أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه إذ قالوا لقومهم إن براء منكم. And there's come for you a goodly example regarding Ibrahim and those who were along with him, when they said to their people, to their own family members, indeed we are free of you. Indeed we are free of you. Al-ayah. And so, by way of this, we're able to see that Ibrahim, he is the chief of those who have actualized the affair of At-Tawhīd. وَأَنَّ الْإِقْتِدَاءَ بِهِ فِي ذَلِكَ وَاجِبٌ. And to take his example as it relates to this issue is wajib, it is an obligation. ويزيد هذا توكيدا أن الله أمر نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم باتباع ملته. And what emphasizes this further is the fact that Allah Ta'ala has commanded our Prophet Muhammad alayhi wasallam with following his millah, with following the religion of Ibrahim in various places inside of his book. From them is the statement of Allah Ta'ala, ثُمَّ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ أَنِ اتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. Moreover, we have revealed to you, Muhammad, that you are to follow the religion of Ibrahim, Hanifan, and be a true, unadulterated monotheist. Likewise, there's a statement of Allah Ta'ala, إِنَّ أَوْلَى النَّاسِ بِإِبْرَاهِيمَ لَلَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُ وَهَذَا النَّبِيُّ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Indeed, those who have the most right to Ibrahim are those who truly and sincerely follow him, and this prophet, and those who have believed along with him. This is that which we will mention and suffice for this evening. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll pick up in the next sitting from the next verse that was mentioned under this tarjuma. Allah ta'ala knows best. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. And I was informed that there are no questions for this evening, so we conclude here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. جزاكم الله خيرا يا أستاذ. بارك الله فيك.
Allah